So, this is nice. So this weekend we tried to address the fact that fisheries data sets exist all across the internet in all different kinds of forms. That means that researchers, the people who shape and determine our policy, have to spend hours navigating through all of these sites, downloading them, shaping them, and then only then can they actually do the research that they need to determine our policies and how best to save our oceans. And this delay matters. Our oceans are degrading rapidly, and to solve this problem, we actually need to understand it in real time. And with these dispersed data sets, we can't. But of course, this is a 2-day hackathon, so we had to choose a specific data set to focus on. And we chose to focus on catch per unit effort data, or CPUE. So a little overview for those of you who don't know. CPUE data is basically a measure of how many fish are in a certain area at a certain time. And this measure is often used to figure out things like which policies are working, which ones need to be revamped, which species we should be worried about, and which ones are in decline. But as with much fisheries data, this information is stored in all kinds of different forms all over the internet. On the right, you can actually see 2 of the websites we use to gather the data for our tool. And one of them is a web form that you fill out, and one of them is an email sign-up list. So that's not great. So how do we go about solving this problem? Well, our project had 3 steps. First, we wanted to grab all of the data sets from all of the different websites, which was not a small task. You can actually see a tiny fraction of the data sets we gathered from the ICES data set, the ICES website, which is just one of the websites we used. So that's a big task. Next, we wanted to combine all the data sets programmatically. So these data sets are all in different forms. They all have different columns, et cetera, et cetera. We wanted to combine them in one easy to swallow, easy to navigate package so that they could be used simply. And finally, we wanted to upload them all and make them publicly available and put this data in the hands of the people who can actually use it. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do all of that, but we did accomplish some pretty cool things. So for this proof of concept, we used information stored in 3 different places. The ICES website, the Rutgers website, and the NOAA website. You can see on the maps that each of these, oh no, you totally can't see. Well, if you could see the maps well, you would see that each of these different organizations does research on different regions of the world. So together they give a pretty good picture of a lot of the world's fisheries. So we were able to web scrape these sites using a combination of Selenium and raw Python and gather just a ridiculous number of data sets. Fun fact, we actually rickrolled the Rutgers website because it has you enter an email every time. So we did that like over 100 times. So that was fun. Sorry, Rutgers. And yeah, finally we were able to programmatically combine all these data sets, mostly-ish, kind of. It's a work in progress. We're going to do that in the future. So where do we want to go from here? Well, in the short term, we want to clean up our data, or we want to clean up our code a little bit, document it, make it more understandable, gussy it up, et cetera, so that we can then make it open source. And once it's open source, people with more expertise than us can use it to springboard their own projects. And also, we wanted to upload all these data sets because, like I had said, it does no good on our computers when it's not in the hands of the people who can use it. In the medium term, we want to update our tool so that it can automatically scrape each of these websites every month or so, which would save us from having to go and scrape it by hand, which is kind of a pain if you're maintaining a website. And finally, in the long term, we want to scrape the rest of the websites that have this type of data. The sample that we chose for our project is great, but it is not representative, and adding new sources will make it a lot more of a robust tool.